Hello, and welcome to the training for the third administration of 5th and 8th grade reading. Hello, and welcome to the training for the third administration of 5th and 8th grade reading. Welcome to the June 2015 training for the third administration of 5th and 8th grade reading. This training will be brief because we are under the assumption that you were already a test administrator on your home campus for the spring of 2015. If there is information that is not covered in this presentation that you need clarification on, please be sure to contact your summer campus testing coordinator. All of the summer test administrators should have already been test administrators in our district from the spring of 2015. Therefore, you should have already completed the test security training at your home campus. And as a reminder, you are responsible for reading the test security supplement and your test administrator manual. If you were not a test administrator on your home campus this spring, please let the summer testing coordinator know as soon as possible. Testing for 5th and 8th grade will take place on Tuesday, June 23rd. Students will have 4 hours to take the reading test unless they have an accommodation of extra time. The time period starts after the test administrator has read directions and tells the students to begin working on the test. The start and stop times must be recorded on a seating chart, and all responses must be recorded before the end of the time period unless they have basic transcribing as an accommodation. You must announce the amount of time left to test. You're required to communicate orally or in writing the amount of time left to test in 1 hour intervals and in shorter intervals during the last hour. Students who do not complete their test within the time limit should submit what they have completed. We do have students who have testing accommodations this summer. Generally, they would be small group, oral administration. Some students have a linguistic accommodation, such as a bilingual dictionary. If you do have any students who have testing accommodations, your summer campus testing coordinator will let you know in advance what students and which accommodations they have. If you have any questions about how to give an accommodation on the day of testing, please be sure that you consult with your summer campus testing coordinator. The responsibilities as a test administrator are the exact same responsibilities that you have during the regular school year as a test administrator. You must prepare for the administration and review administration materials. If you are administering a different grade level from what you normally administer during the school year, please be sure that you have read through the test administrator directions. You need to review and sign your security oath. You will need to prepare your test environment, ensure proper testing procedures. You will administer STAAR assessments, complete the administration process, maintain test security and confidentiality at all times, report any testing irregularities to your campus testing coordinator immediately, and you must use your seating charts. You must also prepare the testing environment just as you would during the school year. Make sure that your room is prepared, that you sufficiently separate students. You must hang a testing do not disturb sign on the door. Any bulletin boards and instructional displays that might be of a source of direct answer should be covered. Clocks, either analog or digital, should be in the testing room. All computer tables and desks used for testing must be cleared of books and other materials not required for the test. And for STAAR A, you need to make sure that students cannot see another student's monitor, and ensure that there is 1 pair of headphones per student for online administrations unless it is an individual administration. For STAAR A, you must have the following required testing material. You will have a room accommodations roster if you have any students who have testing accommodations. You will have a seating chart, a testing do not disturb sign, a cell phone policy which must be read, student authorization forms which are login sheets that contain the user's username and password each student will need to access the online test. They will have pencils and pens and scratch paper so they can do work on it. They must also have headphones, and if they have any materials needed for the test, such as a supplemental aid or any other allowable testing material that a student would need for an accommodation, those will also be in your buckets. 8th graders must also have access to a dictionary for the reading test. Students should only use test material provided to you by the campus testing coordinator. There should not be any material used on testing day that has not been provided to you by the campus testing coordinator. You must ensure proper testing procedures. This includes that a trained test administrator must be present in the testing room at all times during the test administration. No cell phones are permitted. You must read the cell phone statement. If a break is given which stops the clock, please check and double check once testing resumes that you have calculated the correct ending time, and test administrators must actively monitor the testing room while students are working. Directions for STAAR A can be found in the Test Administrator Manual. For 5th grade, it's pages 117 through 124. The 8th grade directions can be found on pages 101 through 108. The directions must be read aloud word for word. The SAY directions are in bold and must be read in their entirety. The words in italics are information meant for only the test administrator and should not be read aloud to students. The next part of this training will cover information specific for only the STAAR A test. If you are not familiar with STAAR A, it is an online test and it has embedded accommodations. Students who take STAAR A can use any and all of the accommodations that are embedded on the STAAR A assessment. If you have not administered STAAR A yet, there is a training video which was developed by TEA which you must view. This video takes about 17 or 18 minutes to watch, but it's very helpful to test administrators before you administer the test. If you already viewed this training video during the course of the school year, you do not need to view the training video again. The link to access the video is right here. You can also Google STAAR A resources and click on the Test Administrator training video for STAAR A. So one of the questions that came up from the springtime had to do with what happens if a student gets stuck using a tool and they're not sure how to either access a tool or turn a tool off. So for this third administration, all students taking STAAR A most likely have probably already taken the STAAR A reading assessment on either the first or second administration. If they haven't, then at the very least, they should have completed an online STAAR A tutorial session. But during the test, if a student does get stuck, then at any point during the test session, the test administrator may use the SAY directions or paraphrase directions from the Test Administrator Manual to assist students if they have trouble navigating through the assessment or if they need reminders of how to turn the tools on and how to use the accessibility features. In addition, the test administrator may read aloud the information presented to the student in the help tool. So these are some of the built-in accommodations for STAAR A. For online tools, they have Answer Eliminator, a highlighter, an eraser, a pencil, a notepad, and they do have some reference materials for the reading test. For the accessibility features, they have text-to-speech, meaning that anything that can be read to a student can either choose to read it on their own or they can choose to listen to it. There is a zoom feature. There's a color and contrast where the students can change the color of the text and the color of the background on the screen. There's also a place marker. Some of the embedded accommodations, they have pop-ups, rollovers, and blank graphic organizers. These are examples of a pop-up. So there are some words that are going to be underlined with blue dots. When a student sees that, then a student is alerted that there's some extra information there. If they click on that, then a pop-up box will appear and it provides some extra information for that question or that answer. It could be a definition, a synonym, a picture, an animation, etc. So a pop-up is used to define or clarify, construct irrelevant words, phrases, and sentences using plain language, synonyms, definitions, and consistent language. It can help provide a visual representation of the selection, question, or answer choice. It can even isolate specific information in a question that corresponds to each answer choice. And it can isolate specific text or information in a selection that is referenced in the question or answer choice. This is an example of a rollover. For a rollover, a small blue box appears near words or phrases. When a student sees that blue box, it alerts the student to click that box. When they click on that box, then a rollover appears over the original text. That rollover can reword complex questions, answer choices, or box text in a selection. So as I said on an earlier slide, text-to-speech is one of the features of STAAR. Most everything on the test will be read to a student if it's eligible text that can be read. However, pop-ups and rollovers are not features that can be read by the text-to-speech function embedded in STAAR. So again, the text-to-speech function does not read aloud pop-ups and rollovers. However, the test administrator may read aloud these embedded accommodations at the student's request. The test administrator may not read aloud any text and reading selections. This will be indicated by a do not read icon. So in the reading test, if a pop-up or a rollover appears, unless there's a do not read icon on the screen, then you are able to read that to a student if a student requests that. This is what the text-to-speech accessibility panel looks like in STAAR. Students are able to stop, rewind, go forward. They can adjust how loud it is. They can adjust the rate at which the computer is reading the text to them. They can also click to hear if they want a male voice or a female voice. So this is the function that they're able to use. Again, students should already be familiar with this from either a previous STAAR administration or through the STAAR online tutorial. Remember that pre-reading text, reading test questions, and answer choices are read aloud via the computer-generated read aloud functionality. The test administrator will not read any of these aloud. The only thing that a test administrator can read to a student during the STAAR test is a pop-up or a rollover, and that is if the do not read icon is not on the screen. This slide clarifies what can be read on the reading test of STAAR. What is read by the computer? All reading question and answer choices, and also pre-reading text can be read. Students must use the text-to-speech feature in order to hear these items read. What can the test administrator read at the student request? That is all pop-ups and rollovers in the test questions, unless a do not read icon is present. Test administrators may also read reference material such as dictionaries and supplemental aids. What may never be read? These are the reading selections. A reading selection cannot be read by the computer, and it will not be read by a test administrator. You must be aware that for STAAR, you are viewing secure test content and are therefore required to initial and sign an additional section of your oath. Test administrators may not respond to test questions, make notes about test questions, nor discuss the contents of the test at any time. Test administrators must not rephrase, clarify, or interpret any test content. Test administrators must keep their voice inflection neutral. However, words that are bold-faced or italicized or printed entirely in capital letters must be emphasized. And unauthorized verbal and nonverbal assistance may not be provided to students. Before the end of the test, you will check to make sure that students have answered all of the questions that they are supposed to answer. There is a review screen before they hit the final submit button. So when students are finished testing, have them raise their hand before they submit their answers. Make sure that they are not submitting a blank test. If a student has not completed test questions, use the statement, "You have not recorded your answers in the computer. Please go back and mark the answers now." Once students are done and they've submitted their test, you will collect the student authorization form. This is considered a secure form, and it must go back to the campus testing coordinator. And you will also collect all scratch paper and any other test material given to students during the test. As always, if you have questions during testing before it begins, please stop, walk, and call your campus testing coordinator. If you have a question during testing, then please get a hall monitor who can go and get the campus testing coordinator so that that person may answer your question. So what's next? Well, the summer campus testing coordinator will be emailing you campus-specific information regarding your testing assignment, accommodation information of students you will be testing, what time you need to be at school on the day of testing, etc. Please read your test administrator manual and sign an oath prior to testing. If you were only hired to work as a test administrator and not a summer school teacher, you must have a Kronos badge. You may get your badge from the HR department at the admin building on June 18th from 10 to 4. On the testing day, you must swipe in and out with a Kronos badge, as well as use a hard copy of a paper timesheet. The campus testing coordinator has your paper timesheet to record your start time and stop time on June 23rd. After testing is over, you must turn your Kronos badge in to the summer campus testing coordinator unless you use this badge to swipe in and out during the school year. If you do have questions, please be sure that you contact the summer campus testing coordinator. At Oak Forest, it's Jennifer Turner. Her extension over there is 2807. Sherry Shire is at Park Lakes. Her extension is 3266. And Sylvia Solis at Humble Middle is 4089. I hope that you have a great summer testing experience.